Alright guys, we are doing some engine teardown, a little more, well, detail cleaning I should say. Yeah, pretty much we're just doing engine detail cleaning, kind of getting this prettied all up. We'll go through everything and get it buttoned up. So, I believe this is part 5 that we're on now, even though I literally just uploaded part 3 and 4 last night, but we're on part 5. So right now, cleaning up our cylinder head here. It looks absolutely horrible at first glance, but it's actually not that bad. So we're just going through, we're decarboning the inside of this head, just doing some little bit of some special stuff here. We got a spray bottle of good stuff. Good stuff being this here. Just kind of show you guys. Spray 9 heavy duty degreaser. So we're using that in conjunction with the good old Cadet WD-40. So we're letting this stuff kind of soak in here for a little bit. And I've had pretty good luck using this stuff. Just go around, kind of get all the edges, make sure it's soaking in pretty good. Let it saturate. Really get into those cracks, crevices. I'm just using an old toothbrush just for the sake of being nice and soft about it. So you want to kind of just repeat, go back and forth, spray a little on there, get a fresh coat going. I've probably done this about 4 times already now, so I've got plenty of degreaser in here. So you can kind of swish that around. A little bit of some WD-40. Swish it all around in there. And once I usually let it sit for about 10 minutes or so. I'll let it sit, and then when I'm happy with it, I'll go ahead, I'll wipe it down with a paper towel, wipe it all off, and then I get the can of brake clean or carb cleaner or whatever I got out, and I'll frickin' rinse that down too. And then we might have to get the wire wheel out to get some of the really stuck on carbon built up, but this gets a good majority of it off. So when I cut to the next scene, we'll see how it all looks. Alright, that's after the first round there. Just kind of wipe it all off. It starts getting off a pretty good majority of it, but we do have some pretty heavy carbon buildup in here, so we might have to get a wire wheel in there. But I'm going to do another round of the stuff here mixed together, and then we'll see how it looks after that. And then if it don't really turn out too great, then I'll go ahead and run a wire wheel in here, get some of that really heavy crap off. Alright, let's see how she looks here. Oh yeah. There. We are definitely making some progress here. So, 2 rounds of my WD-40 and spray 9 degreaser definitely is working its way in there. We might even do one more round just to say we did, and then we'll really touch it up with the wire wheel and Scotch pad on the die grinder. So yeah, we're looking really good. Alright, we'll do another layer on that and see how it comes out. Alright, we're gonna wipe this off. It's looking really good, but I just used a brass brush on everything too after putting the 3rd layer on. So we're gonna wipe this off. Let's see how it looks now. It'd be one of those really satisfying things. There we go. Oh yeah, that is looking good. Yep. So look at that. I think that's looking pretty freaking good. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna polish it all off with the grinder wheel here on the little polishing action. So I'll go ahead, I'm gonna clean it all up with that, and then we'll get it really looking good, and it'll be ready to go back on the tractor here. But after we clean this cylinder head up too, because I want to get that a little freshened up as well. So everybody knows this motor actually was a good runner when I pulled it off the tracker. It ran absolutely perfect, fired right up pretty much every time you touched it off, barely any choke. It was actually a really good running motor. So there ain't a lot I gotta do to this thing at all, just a little clean up here and there, paint it up, and it's gonna be ready to go right back in. So let me finish cleaning this up. I'll show you what it looks like when we're done, and then we'll move on to this. I think that looks pretty good for a 50-plus-year-old tractor. I like it. So our goal now is to make this appear on here. I think this one's going to be a little more challenging, but we're going to give it a try. So probably going to do time lapse for all of this. So keep watching. Hopefully we can make this appear on here too, so we have a nice clean head. Alright, round one. See how it looks. Man, what an improvement already. After just one round of that, that looks really good. So, probably going to do at least 2 more rounds on it. So, we'll keep going. Alright, let's see how this round looks here of greaser. Looking pretty good. We're definitely getting there. A little gummed up here still in the middle, but we'll try to work some of that out some more. But I did notice, though, I think this engine was rebuilt at one time. 10,000s. So I have a feeling somebody bored this thing out and has a board over 10, which would be freaking sweet. That means it's a big bore Cub Cadet. How about that shit? But I'm going to go ahead and I just decided what I'm going to do here as well is I'm actually going to thread chase all these bolt heads, well, threads. So then when we put the head back on and the bolts go in, they go in nice and smooth. It's nice and tight, so we have good compression on this engine, so it stays running good. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to thread chase all these, put it on a time lapse, and then we'll do this another round of the degreaser, and we'll see if we can get some of this carbon to come up a little bit more. But we're looking really good right now. Alright, we got everything thread chased. Probably actually a good idea. Some of them were pretty bad, some of them weren't. So, well, actually I wouldn't say pretty bad, but it's definitely wasn't great. So, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take the wheel to it and see how much more we can polish up on it. Alright, well, Wizzy Wheel definitely did quite a bit, but it ain't perfect. There's a lot of heavy pitting, carbon buildup, freaking crap over here, so unfortunately I don't think I'm going to get a lot of that out, not without scratching the shit out of the surface. So we cleaned it up as best we could, got as flat as we could. I'm sure it's still going to seal a lot better than what was originally there. And just to kind of show you guys the inside of this piston here, there's something going on right there, but I don't feel it on my thumb at all. Normally you can take your fingernail, you can feel if there's like a crack or something there, and I don't feel anything there. It's really smooth, so I'm not sure what's up with that, but the rest of it does look pretty good though. So I do think this motor was gone through at one time. Probably, is my guess. But we're going to go ahead and we'll turn this back up here. Just kind of keep it protected in there. But yeah, I think we're going to go ahead. We're going to mount the this cylinder head back onto the actual tractor, onto the motor. So we're going to do that. I'm probably going to thread chase the bolts too, just because we'll get them torqued down to spec, and then we're just going to start cleaning the outside of this thing like I want to do. So we'll keep going. Alright, don't mind the noise of the heater. Got all of our bolts thread chased to put it in here, so now we got to figure out what our torque spec is. So we go down here to my engine service manual here. If you can manage to find one of these, get yourself one, or get them from a guy that you're buying the tractor from. These are super helpful. If he's got one of these are gold mines right here, especially the original one. So I'll go back here. We got our 7-bolt head. That's going to count for those 3 style motors. So you're going to want to look down here for your torque spec. So you got to check what grade bolt you have. You got a grade 5 bolt right there. Got your 3. So you're going to want to go through. I know they're 5/16 bolts. So you got inch pounds here, but it's awesome they give you a conversion table down here as well. So you're going to want to go, let's see, so 250 to 270 is going to be between 20 and 25. So it's going to be about 23 foot-pounds is what you're going to have your torque spec for this one. So that there's how you get your torque spec. Get yourself a manual. But we'll go ahead, we'll get this torque down. We'll move on to the cleaning and degreasing of the outside of this engine. Alright, the top off the top here. We got it all torqued down the spec. In the pattern that you gotta do it. Spark plug gap. This is honestly a pretty missed common issue that a lot of people do on these small engines. Not just these, but any small engine. A lot of people just throw a plug in and run it. Yeah, it works, but optimal performance, so you know it's working good. Set your spark plug gap. So I'm going here to my chart. So let's see. If you go down to ignition, you're gonna have spark plug gap. They have different variations, but generally it's just gasoline on the small engines and pretty much carries all the way across. So that's your gap there, but you want to kind of just look up here, make sure, okay, we have the 161 there, and it doesn't matter between the 2 different bore sizes because you go down and it's still a 0.025. So fuel gauge, it's always nice to have. If you have an actual spark plug gap tool, that's even better. But you can go ahead and just check it. Just a little teensy tiny bit of drag there, but make sure it fits right in there, no problem. So that's gonna be good to go. So we'll go ahead, I'll put this in the head here, and then we'll probably be doing a bunch of time lapses because we'll be starting to clean this thing up and then hopefully get it ready for paint. So let's move on through. Alright, got done cleaning up the motor, the rest of the way. Everything looks pretty good. I'll prep all this off with some tape and stuff that way I don't want painted. Then I'll get everything ready for that. So that's good to go. So now we're moving on to the actual tin, the important stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna flap disc all this down. It's pretty aggressive stuff, so because I want all the paint to get off of this, all the really rough, uneven rust off. I want to get it all off. So when everything's painted, it's smooth and it looks factory. So that's what we're gonna go for here. And also, I got to get this wire mesh off of this to get this ready for paint as well. And I got to straighten that disc out right there too. So we're gonna go through. I'm gonna do all these first, get these all scuffed down, and then I'll probably work on taking that apart, and then we're gonna get prepped for paint. So I'm gonna throw it back in time lapse yet again, because that's the easiest way to make a video. So I'm throwing it in time lapse, and we're going to keep this ball rolling. Alright guys, got everything flat disc down, which is going to be perfect, so it's all smooth. Everything's smooth again. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to actually probably get some primer on all this. And then we're going to let it set up until probably the next day. So then we got a good coat of yellow going on everything. So we'll get primer on those. We'll get some we're going to get the motor prep so we can get some primer on that. And then I'll probably paint a couple parts black here while I'm at it. Probably definitely a starter generator. I'm also going to get probably paint on the starter generator bracket too. But everything else can kind of be, you know, is what it is kind of deal. I do got to paint this as well. So a lot of little intricate parts that got to get painted. But we'll get it all figured out here. So I guess next step, let's get this prep for paint. And then we can start hitting stuff with primer. Alright, got everything here on the prep table. Got some engine covers, gas tank mount, the actual engine itself. We're going to go ahead, we're going to get primer on these. Let's get a couple coats on them, and then we're probably going to get them out of the way, and then we're actually going to get the, I forgot about this one over here. And then we're going to get the starter generator painted as well. We're going to get this painted black, and then we're probably also going to paint the ignition coil too. So everything's nice and what it's supposed to be. So a couple parts to paint, but nothing crazy. Governor linkage, I'm just going to do that kind of separately on its own. So go ahead, put her back in time lapse, get primer on all this stuff, and then we'll keep going. Alright, we're looking pretty good here. We got 2 coats of paint. Well, 2 coats of primer, I should say, on some engine parts here. So probably actually going to get a couple coats of paint on it, and so we can try to stay ahead of the game here. So I'm going to let these cure up for a little bit longer, and then start getting some coats of yellow on it. Alright, we got the first coat of paint on everything here. So we're looking pretty good. It's going to take a couple more layers, of course, so everything should go pretty good. So I'll get back with you guys when I got a few coats on this, and then we'll carry on from there. Alright folks, we kind of jumped ahead a little bit, but I got ambitious and started going. So we got about 4 coats of paint on all this. And I think it all turned out pretty good. I ended up taking the masking tape off the engine because I didn't want it to dry up and cure on there while it was curing. Or it's going to be drying for the next 24 hours or whatever. We also got the starter generator painted as well. Got a couple coats on that. We got like about 3 on that. And then back here as well, we do have the ignition coil and the gas cap. Did those black as well. So everything's looking really good. So, and we also got the linkage here for the governor scuffed up and painted as well. So everything's looking pretty good. Hopefully when everything dries up, we can actually start putting this sucker back together and hopefully have the running tractor. And then all we got left to paint is just wheels and tires. Well, not tires obviously, but we got the wheels to paint, all 4 of them. So, and that's the very last thing to go back on. But I want to get the running tractor put together first and have it running here sitting on the stands before we proceed. And I covered the whole tractor too to keep it protected from overspray, because there's overspray all over my freaking shop. So yeah, so this will conclude for now, and I will continue on once we got more footage and got this video put together. So time to wait for it to dry. Alright guys, It's the next day. Everything is nice and dry, so I went ahead and got everything put back together. I'm just going to kind of go over a couple things real quick on this before I put it back in, just so you guys kind of know, and things I ran into. So first things first, these bolts here for the cover, you want to make sure that those are nice and short, because if they're too long, they will actually hit the flywheel in here, and then it won't let it turn. I would put the thing back together, and it wouldn't turn. I was like, what the fuck? So that's something you got to watch out for there. Governor adjustments, that's definitely something you should do too while you have it all apart. So easy enough on here. You just loosen this bolt up that clamps that down, and then pushing that all the way back on your linkage there, and then you take a pair of pliers or something, you grab that rod and you pull it to the left counterclockwise all the way back till it bottoms out, and then while you're holding it there, tighten that bolt down, and then that'll have your governor adjustments set there. And then I actually have a fixed rod on this, so I can't make any adjustments up there really besides the couple holes. So that's how old this thing freaking is. So keep that in mind. Also, your condenser, make sure the mounting point for your condenser is nice and clean on the inside. Everything's nice, clean, smooth contact going there. And I got a new wire ran here going to the actual points. Make sure your points are clean as well. Pop that cover off, then you can probably take a little sandpaper or something between your contacts, your points there. Make sure those are nice and clean. Also check your points gap while you're in there as well. Yeah, all found in a service manual. There's plenty of forums online. There's plenty of research you could do on those. There's videos on YouTube as well on how to adjust all that stuff. So make sure you keep that all in mind when you got a motor out like this. I mean, you could do it while it's in the chassis, but it's a lot easier when it's right here on the bench right in front of your face. So, yeah, everything is on here and ready to go back on. So, we'll cut to the next clip, and I'll work on putting this in, and then we'll start kind of getting things set up. So, let's get her going in. Alright, engine is sitting in the chassis. So, I was able to actually put this in here. It's just sitting in here now. I don't have it bolted down, but I was able to get this set in here without having to take the grill and hood off, thankfully. So, when you do get it in here, when your clutch adjustment's nice and loose, so that's all the way up, so the belt tension's there. You can actually just kind of tip the motor a little bit and get that pulley right under there, and then put it on there. So, now, before I do the actual belt tension adjustment, bolt the motor down, and then it can do this. I can pull that down to get it tight, and then can do those 3 bolts, so the 2 on this side, 1 on that side, and then that'll set that up, and then we're looking pretty good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get that done, and then we'll probably mount the gas tank in here, just kind of get everything mounted. We'll put the starter generator on, air cleaner, and let's kind of get the last of the parts bolted on, and then that'll conclude probably part 5 on this. For part 6, I'm gonna build a I'm gonna make my own wiring harness. Super simple on these tractors, but I'm gonna actually write it up on a piece of paper so then you guys can have a good idea and a good look of how you wire these things up. So let's finish up bolting this together, and we'll go from there. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and get this bolted in. Get this starter generator bolted in. So this can be a little tricky if you're... Oh, also don't forget your belt. Gotta have that on there. I like to usually I'll thread that on first. Well, put that on first, I should say. And then you can kind of just rotate it out to get it to where you need it. Sometimes works that way. Might require a little finessing, but yeah, it'll go in eventually. And then it should pretty much just friction fit on there. So once you got it lined up, then those bolts will go right in. Just about. obviously don't cross-thread them. That one started. Kind of go here. Get this one going. Let's find it. Find the hole where it goes. There we go. There's that one, and then final bolt up here for your adjustments on that. I like to kind of leave everything loose for the most part. And once you got it all started, simple last trick and wind her down. So I'll leave that loose there. This one out here. Leave this loose. Now you don't want your belt super tight, so usually a good hand pull does it pretty well. Start the top one, that tight, and check it, it's pretty good. And you go ahead and crank her down the rest of the way. Good way to check everything. Your transmission is neutral. You want to be able to turn the engine nicely. If it's too tight, it'll bind up like crazy. So you want to check that too. But it looks pretty good in there. Alright, the next piece. Let's get this gas tank mounted up. So, just as simple as that. There you go. Look at that. Gotta get the straps on it, but I'm gonna do a time lapse real quick of me putting the straps on that thing, so we'll get to it. Alright, everything's looking pretty good in there now. Oh, for now, that will end today's video. Got some other stuff I want to go do today, so we're looking pretty good. Like I said, the next part we'll be doing the wiring harness, getting this put that together, so we can actually fire it up. And while we're doing the wiring harness, I'm gonna paint the wheels as well while we're doing that. So we're doing a couple things at once, and then this thing should be back together and ready to go before you know it. So thanks for watching, guys. Stick around.